Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Trap Draw podcast. My name is Randy. I have my Union brothers, DJ Pie and Chris Solomon here. We're talking a little baseball. It's been a minute since we've checked in with a Seamsters pod. The calendar's almost to September. God, it's almost Labor Day, which means we got some playoff chases going on. Let's just introduce the folks here first and foremost. DJ, how are you?
Anything you want to get off your chest. Anything you want to talk about.
Well, gentlemen, good to be with you. Cannot wait to talk about a little bit of baseball today. Good to be here, Randy. Thanks for having me on your program.
Of course. Thanks for accepting. Chris, good for you to be here as well. I have to tell the people, I sense perhaps more optimism with the Reds playoff chance or possibility right now from you than maybe at any time throughout the year. Is that fair to say?
It is fair to say their odds are not horrific. Fangraph still hates them, but it is more about everyone I've talked to that has more experience with the Mets than I do. Like, as a rival of them, is from New York, maybe as a Yankees fan, maybe a Phillies fan, maybe a Braves fan. Everyone I've mentioned the Reds, Mets, wild card kind of back and forth to them are like, dude, you got nothing to worry about. Like, they will always Mets. They always Mets. So I'm trying that's a driver of my hope.
Till last year.
There's still a lot of frustration under here, Randy. We have a bad offense and we didn't fix it at the deadline. And we're going to probably fall 1 to 2 games short, and I'm going to be screaming into a pillow. But there's a chance. There is a chance. The pitching's been unbelievable. And you know what? For once, Randy, we do not have to apologize about talking Reds and Brewers right now, because it is two of the more interesting things that are brewing right now.
I think that's exactly right. Well, before we dive in, let's thank ServPro. All right, title sponsor of the Trap Draw. ServPro is the #1 brand in cleanup and restoration, is known for making any mess like it never even happened. With over 2,200 locations nationwide, they're faster to any size disaster. I'm sure there are going to be mea culpas. Let's table those for just a second and let's dive into these races. And Saul, you're right. I want to start in the NL Central, and that's unapologetically, all right, Reds, Brewers, Cubs. Let's get into it. Let's start here. Reds and Brewers, recent series last weekend. God dang, was it an excruciating series.
Good, just every time that bullpen.
The Brewers end up winning 2 of 3. They won the first 2 games in
the Reds blew the first 2 games,
fashion.
Randy.
Yes. Yeah, I would say Reds lost 2 of those 3 games. I don't know if the Brewers.
Deej, that had to be so enjoyable. I mean, we were truly kind of meltdown mode in our group chat here, and I can just imagine you just eating some peanuts, just taking it all in.
It was a real treat, you know, that Friday night game, especially. I was having some people over to grill out. You know, I was like, there's a lot of good baseball on. You sit in the garage. By the time I even fired up the grill, I hadn't even seasoned the burgers, as I'm famous for doing that. And it was already 8-1 Reds. And I'm like, oh, damn, man, this is going to, okay, well, kind of a funeral here. And obviously, you know, you can tell by my tone how the rest of that game went. Second game in extra innings, no business winning that one either, but they just squeak that one out. And then you guys kind of salvaged one against the Double-A team there on Sunday, which was good. But yeah, I don't know where you want to start. Big picture Brewers. I don't know if we need to necessarily get into the X's and O's of that series too much, but the Brewers are, since I have not heard it yet, the best team in baseball by a decent margin here. They have
best record in baseball.
Best
correct,
record
yes.
in baseball. So I know how much you like the numbers and how much you have to respect the spreadsheets.
Have to.
As far as this goes. So I want to say a couple things up front. One, as the people who listen to this podcast know, I am not going to pretend to be, you know, lifelong Brewers guy. That is, I'm well aware that that's not my place. I'm not going to get on here and say, God, go do it for 82 guys, go do it for Euchre. Like, all that stuff is great. There's a place for all those people. I have a lot of those people in my life now, and I'm so happy for them. But I will say, this is the team I watch every day. It's the team I've watched every day for the last 3 years since moving here, and this has been one of the most fun summers of baseball to watch that I can ever remember. Honestly, that includes 2005 with the White Sox, when I was a young lad, just watching them absolutely decimate everybody in that playoff run. So I don't want to play defense. I don't want you guys to back foot me because I know what you're gonna say. They're lucky.
What?
All of this.
Don't you
Well, no.
frame
Hold
it.
on, hold on,
Oh,
hold on,
God.
hold on.
This is criminal.
We'll do that. Let's start here. Solly, is there anything nice you want to say about the Brewers?
Listen, Randy, since we went to the game on May 27th, the Brewers have the second best offense in baseball. They are third in pitching since then and fifth in defense.
Seems like a good recipe.
It's a great recipe. Am I envious of the Brewers? Of course. Am I annoyed by them? Greatly. Are they good? Undoubtedly. Have they been extremely fortunate? Undoubtedly. All those things can be true. They are...
I just am going to push back on that. I don't know.
Okay.
Like,
do you want the support? They are leading baseball in batting average on balls in play. They're just sitting there just 17th in ISO. Okay. They're essentially the softest hitting team in baseball. They're bottom of the league in exit velocity and hard hit rate, last in barrels, bottom 10% in expected slug. The data boy in me has to trust at least a little bit of that, right? Has to, a little bit. They've had a lot of dink and dunk luck. If you're not hitting the ball hard and you are leading the league in batting average and balls in play, that is what we call dink and dunk luck. Like that's a lot of fortune. Do I think like that?
But what if it happens every fucking day?
I know. What if that's
incredible.
An approach? Choke up, look the other way.
And where I want to put a pause here is like everything we've been saying the last couple of years is just like, man, pitching is so out of balance. These pitchers are just dominant. What if are guys going to go back to more like a 2-strike approach? Are they just going to go back to putting balls in play? Everybody fucking sucks at defense. What if you just make them make plays all the time? And that's what it's been like all summer. Is just like guys putting the ball in play and watching bad things happen for the other team. It's awesome. And this is the kind of stuff that I know this started with you saying something nice. And that's where I'm flipping it back to is like, this has to be the kind of baseball that both of you guys are all about. Right. Sure. I mean, if this was your team, you'd be like, this is how you play real baseball. This is it. They take the extra base. They don't make mistakes. They do all of that stuff and just let people beat themselves. It's awesome.
I respect the defense a ton and I respect the pitching a ton. It's the offense I can't fully buy in. I just cannot. I wish the underlying data supported it better. I wish it did. You cannot deny the success so far.
A couple more data points for you here, because I actually will go to May 25th. If you talk to a lot of Brewers people, they're going to say May 25th. That's the turning point. They were, I believe, what was it? 25 and 28, 3 games under 500. They were 6.5 games back at that point. That's when it flipped. And then, you mentioned we went to that game with the walk-off grand slam. Since then, second in average. This is not going to be the advanced stats. These are much more straightforward. They've scored more runs than anybody. They've scored 90 more runs in these 75 games than your beloved Reds. They're second most in hits, second in OPS, third in slug. Everybody does. They just dink and dunk. All they do is they just play this West Coast offense. They've outslugged the Yankees in that stretch. They've outslugged the Phillies in that stretch. Outslugged the Tigers in that stretch. Outslugged the Dodgers in that stretch. Outslugged the Red Sox. Outslugged the Cubs. Outslugged the Reds by fucking 50 points over that stretch.
Wow.
It's just, I don't know, man. It's not as dire and like they just keep. I don't know how they keep finding holes as it seems.
They have outslugged all those teams through the batted ball. Like they're isolated slugging, which is just like your extra bases over singles. Basically, they're 17th in that, right? So they're not slugging; they are hitting for high average, and they're like medium slugging. Like it's not like they're bashing the crap out of the ball. That's what I'm getting at here. Like, would you expect going forward a 317 batting average on balls in play, highest in the league? Like, is that a fair expectation? If you think so, if you believe so, great. I would say probably not a fair expectation. And in August, it's been completely ridiculous. If I can pull that up really quickly, batting average on balls in play, 324. Not that much more. But they have slugged a lot better as of late.
Never mind.
They're hitting
the same, actually. Disregard.
I mean, they're second. They're second in baseball in batting average on balls. Like, again, if they were hitting it hard and had a high batting average on balls in play, I wouldn't flinch. I'd be like, dude, that's the formula. I can't get down with like hitting it soft and continually finding green space is probably if there's going to be a downfall of the Brewers, I don't think it's going to be the defense. I don't think it's going to be the pitching. I don't think it's going to be the bullpen, starting pitching or bullpen. I would think it would be the lack of exit velocity catching up with him, much like the conversation we had last year with the Fraudians. Okay. And what happened when it came to playoff time? They couldn't hit the damn ball out of the infield. Okay. So
they made it to the ALDS as well, but I'll just
they made it to the CS, but that was also the American League.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, their American League's not a real league. So anyways, Am I envious of where you're sitting? Would this be the most fun summer ever? Like 100%. Of course. Do I wish the Reds were doing this and just pissing people off greatly? Yes. Now, if I'm the Phillies, Dodgers, Padres, am I going to like playing the Brewers in the playoffs and I'm like, that's a better team than us? We got to outplay. I wouldn't think so. I don't believe so. Can they beat them? Yes, but like, I'm not looking at the Brewers if I'm one of those teams and being like, I don't think we can beat them in a short series or a medium series. And they've got good pitching depth, but like it doesn't scream like top 3 rotation. I don't know how you beat us in a playoff series, which is a luxurious question to have. I would kill to have an 80-win team and be worried, hey, how are we going to do in the playoffs? Like that's a very envious position to be in. I can't get all the way there with this team. I just can't. I'm annoyed as shit with them. I was honestly kind of unimpressed after that series. They should have been swept at home.
Come on.
I expected more.
After the worst couple games of the year, as they're on the heels of winning 14 in a row. Yeah, I just didn't really see it.
I expected
more. Literally so tired of winning.
They came back from an 8-1 deficit after
we
the
made
second
3
inning.
errors that game, Randy. Like it was.
That's the whole point.
So that's my point.
This is not about the Reds being good. This is not. Do not change this.
I'll say this. And actually, our guy Chris Welsh made this point in the Reds after the Brewers series. They went out west and they were just playing the Angels. And Welsh made the point, and I totally agree with it, saying it is amazing how much more energy the Milwaukee Brewers play with and how much more pressure that puts on the opposing team. He was like, it is night and day. The pace of the game, right? Like watching a Brewers game, watching those Reds Brewers game, it felt like playoff baseball. And I give credit to the Brewers for that. Like they are playing. They just come to play, man. Like it's I don't know how to not sound like just a cornball, but they come to play every day. And it's very impressive. Now, do I also think the Brewers are probably cheating as an organization somehow? Of course. I'm willing to level that charge. They have
Thank
to
you for
cheating.
not having to be the first, make me be the first one. They've cheated before. That's been documented.
Andrew Vaughn stuff. I mean, come on.
It was alluded to.
There's no way.
The Andrew Vaughn, oh God. You got it. You're saying the same thing. No. Pause real quick on the Andrew Vaughn thing, because you're saying the same thing. You're talking about like this. Essentially, you didn't say the word, but you're talking about culture. And you're talking about like showing up to the ballpark every day, ready to play, next man up. If I don't get it, the next guy does.
It's a college baseball. It's Pat Murphy. It's a college baseball culture, really.
Do you see how maybe coming from the worst team that's ever played professional baseball and getting into that ecosystem might change somebody's perspective just a little bit? The guy who's number third overall pick when he went, Adley Rutschman, Bobby Witt Jr., and then Andrew Vaughn. Like those are the guys he was drafted with. And now it's just like, oh no, he's the worst hitter in baseball. It's like, well, or maybe he's just like in this fucking dank basement, like he hasn't seen the sun in 6 years. Like maybe you get him into a different situation and he might start sprouting some flowers, you know? It's like, I don't know, Big. That's where I'm going to push back on you. Maybe they are cheating. I don't know about that.
No, point taken. I think maybe both things can be true, because I do agree with you. I think laying bias aside, like I do think there's something to that, absolutely. And I also just want to say it's clear to me watching the Reds crap their pants playing the Brewers. Saul, you mentioned the 3 errors.
Yeah.
Like the Reds have been pretty good defensively, except when they play the Brewers. And there's something. It's either mental, it's the pace, it's guys who are inexperienced and just not able to make plays in bigger environments. I am envious. The Brewers seemingly have a culture where guys come in and they perform. And I think the Reds, quite frankly, are trying to get to that place, but are not there yet.
That's a hard place to be, because it takes a while to get there, I think. And again, not that I've been watching this for just a decade, but it's like you've seen it the last couple years. Is what you were just saying, what you're fighting against, like trying not to say the cliches, is kind of how I have felt all year. Where it's like, man, I don't want to be like they just play the game the right way guy, but like they kind of do, you know. I don't want to be like the it's funny, you listen to enough interviews and like the Pat Murphy stuff has to be so real, because I've never heard a team that is speaking from the same script so universally as much as this one. Every single day is just like, we're relentless. Pat Murphy like makes t-shirts that say relentless, and it doesn't matter what happened today. We're just it's win tonight, win tonight, win tonight, win to everybody. The GM, you hear him on an interview saying the same thing. Murphy saying the same thing. Every player is just like, oh yeah, 14 in a row, doesn't matter. Only matters tonight. Oh, we just lost. It doesn't matter. Literally none of it matters. We're just winning this game, and that's how it plays too. It's wild. It's hard not to get
I
swept up.
wonder how sustainable that is. Like, I wonder if it's burning too bright, too hot. And I don't know. Like, obviously, it's working this year. It reminds me a little bit of like John Harbaugh moving to the pros. You know, just that unbridled intensity
Yeah.
day after day after day. It's impressive. I don't know how else to say it, Solly.
It is. And again, I'm just like nitpicking the offense. The offense is probably still an above average offense, but it's not this good, is my overall take. I think the pitching's this good. I think the defense is this good. And do you want to apologize, Randy? The Brewers are projected to go 15 and a half games over their over, and you had them going under 82 and a half wins.
I do want to apologize. I was not familiar with Pat Murphy's game. I think obviously there's a culture that extends well beyond Pat Murphy, and it has to extend beyond the major league team. Like, this is from rookie ball up through the Brewers. It feels like they just have everybody rowing in the same direction. It's very enviable.
Really good farm system too at the top of the rankings. It's a bit unfortunate. I wouldn't mind that realignment. Some of that realignment chat. I wouldn't mind getting that expedited a little bit.
I don't know, Rainey. It's again, I'm not going to pretend like I was sitting here on opening day being like, I think my exact words were like, well, if you don't beat the Cubs, like you don't really have a chance to get in. And that has to do with the Diamondbacks underperforming and the Giants underperforming and some of these other teams that you thought would be wild card shoe-ins. But like I did not see like best Brewers team in the history of the franchise coming. I did not see Caleb Durbin being like a two-war just every day.
That I saw. That was
Solid was on that block. Solid was on that block. No, but it's kind of this. It's funny, man. Like we're recording this on Friday, and the Giants come to town. Willie Adames returned to Milwaukee for the first time. And it's just you think about like, you know, the players that they would get back for some of these guys. I know he was a free agent, but like the Devin Williams thing is I'm sure we'll get to the Yankees, but we've seen how the Devin Williams change of scenery has gone. And like, I think there had to be some Yankees just like laughing on the way in, and certainly the first 4 games of the year as well, when it's like, really, like Nestor Cortez and this little ass Durbin guy, like that's who you want for the closer of the year? Like, oh my God. And it's just, I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that you're like, you can't really predict, man, except for the fact that it kind of just keeps happening like over and over and over.
All right, Deej.
Randy, you threw it out though that you have to wonder this series this past week. Did the clock strike midnight when the Brewers won 3 in a row? Do you want to double down on that? Do you want to put that into the public sphere?
I'm not calling it. I texted Deej after. So the Brewers left Cincinnati and they've gone to Chicago for a 5-game set, 4 games with a makeup. And I asked Deej after the Brewers lost 3. They won. They won yesterday. So they won 2 out of 5.
They came into Chicago 8 games up. They leave Chicago after a 5-game series on the road against the second place team 7 games up. And so do I think like the clock has struck midnight after losing 1 game in a 5-game series at Wrigley Field? Like I'm not quite there yet, Big.
The question I posed to DJ was, after every loss, is there a little voice in the back of your head wondering, did the clock strike midnight? And I just have to think, as a fan of the Brewers, just because they're going about it in such a unique, different way, that voice would be inside my head.
There are whiffs. Here's I'll meet you a third of the way here. I was we can talk about this later, but Justine and I went down to 2 of the games at Wrigley. The Wednesday night game was electric, very fun. Mizorowski starting, didn't look very good. That offense, Solly, some of them, all of a sudden those atom balls are not falling, and some of the, you know, it's not really just why is nobody getting on base? What's going on here? And you start to get a little bit of like, ooh, this is kind of how it felt against Arizona a couple years ago in the playoffs, and ooh, this is kind of how it felt in that first game against the Mets last year. That's ooh. And so there was a little bit of a playoff atmosphere in a negative way of just like, ooh, this is the tightness that I think we've seen. But then, you know, they, like you said, they bookended it and they bounced back. They looked like themselves on Sunday in that game. So the good thing about a lot of this turnover is like I hope a lot of that scar tissue is not totally there. You know, some of those guys have left, and they look good against the Mets last year, outside of the one Devin Williams changeup that, you know, Alonso saw coming and hit a mile the opposite way. And so I don't know. That's a long way of saying I see what you're saying. I hear it. I see it. I acknowledge it, but we're not quite there yet. If they get swept.
It's the only thing we got to hold
Giants,
on to, because this has been crazy painful to watch. It just has. And maybe it's just been a while for the Cubs and the Cardinals. Like, the Brewers are top of the shit list for me right now. I'm sorry. I want to see it. I want to see the collapse. I hate to say it, but
I love it.
I'm over it.
Makes it
It's a compliment.
Yeah,
that's a compliment. Like, it's been a sustained run of success, and it's just one of those annoying ones. Like, I'm good. I'm good on this.
It is fun when you hit that point, and I could feel both of you hit that point in that series where you're just like, man, fuck this.
Right?
I'm out on this.
That one strike call was the one that was just like,
we were rooting for him to lose the third game. So it's like, dude, this is the Red season over.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out.
Take us out. Kill us. Yeah. Kill me now.
Please end this for us.
But they won't die, Randy.
Last Brewers thing, because I think it transitions into a Reds thing. I think there was a lot of chatter about them not pushing their chips in at the trade deadline, and I'm sure there were plenty of people who were like, "Why did you not go get another third baseman? Why did you not go get another shortstop? Why didn't you make a play for this person or that person?" And I think that between Andrew Vaughn addition, which was well before the deadline, like, I think everybody just focuses on that last day. Right. And it's like, well, why didn't you do anything on this last day? It's like, well, they traded for Quinn Priester. They added Mizorowski. They, have turned Trevor McGill into like one of the best closers in the league. Like, they've had all these like incremental changes and additions and people kind of in the right spots over the last, really like 2 months, 3 months. And so I was not as upset with their trade deadline as some people were. The Reds, however, I don't quite understand. Are we doing it? Are we not doing it? I love Ke'Bryan Hayes, hell of a defender, would be a great Brewer. Pat Murphy, like,
Pat Murphy,
did you hear that interview?
Effusive praise for Ke'Bryan Hayes.
I love that kid. Talk about a kid that just plays the game the right way. Maybe the worst hitter in the league, but just a future 12-time Gold Glover. It's great.
Well, here's where I'll go give like the other side of the coin here. Like, since he's been on the Reds, his offense has been incredible. He's been above average league hitter, right? Like, and
get him out of Pittsburgh.
New environment. Could this be it? And that's where I'm like, I'm staying consistent here. Like, I don't think so. Like, I think he's truly one of the worst offensive players, in baseball. But yeah, the batting average on balls in play is a little bit inflated, and he's hit 2 home runs since he's come over. And it's been, the defense is something to marvel at. Like, it's freaking unbelievable. Really, but like, yeah, if you want to talk about the Reds deadline, if you want to like roll up our sleeves here a little bit. So they're like 3.5 games out around the deadline. Playoff odds, I think, a dip below 10%. And they just middled the damn thing. I still am like very, very, very frustrated. So they have one, like the offense is below average. It's not good. It is a really painful thing to watch night in and night out. They're like second in the league in games scored with 2 runs or less scored. It's pathetic. And they have one hope for a prospect. And he's 21 years old. His name is Sal Stewart. He's a former first-round competitive balance pick.
More than one hope, but he's their
for this year.
Looking prospect.
For this year. Okay. They have one bat that could come up, and Hector Rodriguez maybe, but like I don't think so. So one hope. He's a third baseman. Like, that's his, and they traded for Ke'Bryan Hayes, took on his contract, which is an underwater contract, traded a real prospect to do it, and traded away a lefty reliever to make the salary part work for them. They had to attach a prospect to get rid of Taylor Rogers' contract to take on the underwater contract. And Ke'Bryan Hayes is signed for another 4 years after this. And they just blocked their number one prospect, who is supposedly a well below average second baseman and hasn't taken reps at first base yet. So not only do they make their offense worse at the deadline, they also block the only bat that could come up and help them. They don't have the wiggle room at DH. They did trade for Miguel Andujar, who's been awesome as well, but he can't play the field anywhere. Gavin Lux can't also play the field anywhere. So they've like pigeonholed themselves in, and they still refuse to call this guy up. And they've only got a few more days to call him up to have him even be eligible to be on the postseason roster. And they don't have a spot for him. They had a DFA Jake Fraley because they got too many outfielders and they didn't have a spot for him to play. He was above average hitter on the strong side of a platoon. I don't understand that move. They traded away Adam Serwinowski, a nice pitching prospect, to get Zach Littell, who's a rental. They only goes through the end of the year, so they kind of bought, but they didn't get bullpen help. They didn't get a lefty reliever on the back end and didn't improve the offense. And I'm just left. I don't understand what happened. I would rather they sold, like sell off Nick Martinez, sell Emilio Pagan. If the price for relievers was so high, sell the valuable reliever you have and get a prospect return. You need to shuffle the deck here a little bit. The current formula is not working. Like, you're going to need some bats. And they didn't do it. They've lucked ass backwards into the Mets stinking for the entire month of August. And if like the Reds haven't even been good in August, and they're a half game out of the wild card as we're recording this. Yet they did nothing to prepare themselves for this moment. And every night that goes by, they don't have Sal Stewart up there. They lose by 1 run. I'm going to bed screaming into my pillow that like they're wasting an incredible opportunity. That's all I've got. Randy, anything to add?
Give you the last word.
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't.
The pitching's awesome. The pitching's so good. They're like second in starting pitching WAR. There's 48 guys in Major League Baseball with an F WAR, 48 pitchers, F WAR above 2. And the Reds have 5 of them. Like, you can't even average, like, there's not even an average of 2 per team. The Reds have 5 good starting pitchers and traded for a 6th. Like, they're wasting incredible starting pitching.
Feels a little like Mariners 2.0, except the Mariners kind of pushed in the chips.
Yeah. I'm glad the Reds didn't push in the big chips. I really am. I think this roster has enough holes in it that I don't think they could have made the moves to really solidify a playoff spot and be a title contender. I agree with you, Solly. If you're not going to do that, maybe you look to sell off. I think that's where just the reality of being in a market like Cincinnati, like, people would have pitched a fit had the Reds sold off. I mean, this is on the heels of 2023, where they were in a very similar position to this year. Also didn't go for it. I enjoy the Reds. I'm still hoping they can sneak into a wild card. I have no illusions that they're going to advance in the playoffs. So I think
that
a lot like last year, it feels like a bridge year, and it feels like they're going to have to make a big move at some point. And I thought it would be last offseason. It feels like it almost has to be this offseason. But I don't know. Like you said, they went a long time without Hunter Green. He's back and healthy and has pitched really well since coming off the injured list. Nick Lodolo is about to come back off the injured list. So, like,
Andrew Abbott's been one of the 5 best pitchers
have
in the NL.
Pitching to kind of back into a playoff spot. It's just going to take some luck. And, Ellie De La Cruz is okay. He's had a major power outage since the beginning of July. He has 1 home run. I don't think I certainly didn't see that coming after he had kind of exploded.
Was not aware of that.
In the spring.
Do you want to know why? Because we got a dumbass hitting coach with a slapdick hitting, like, just wants to slap singles everywhere.
But I think it's the Brewers approach. I think it's the Brewers approach is what they're after.
Like Sheer McGavin trying to do the Happy Gilmore out in the woods.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It doesn't work. It's not a good formula. It's not a good formula.
It's not a good formula for everybody. Not a good formula for everybody.
Yeah. I think Noel V. Marte has been a revelation. I think he's solidifying himself in this lineup.
Take it back.
Still, let's see him get all the way through the finish line. But I think he's somebody you got to pencil in next year for sure. So yeah, I don't know. Reds specifically, we'll see. It's still a bit of a weird cobbled together roster. Like Zach Littell, to your point, I wouldn't mind them trying to extend him a couple years. I doubt they do. I bet he'll get more money than the Reds want to give him, but wouldn't hate just solidifying him in the rotation for a couple years and give you some flexibility if you do want to go take a big swing with a trade. I would love if Chaffetz Burns is healthy and could join the bullpen and give him an inning or two here and there. I think that would have come in very handy in the Brewers series, for instance.
I think
But
that's
yeah,
real quick. I think that's what the Brewers are going to probably end up doing with Mizrowski as well.
Yeah,
I
I
bet
think
he
both
goes.
those guys are on innings watch as of now, and yeah, it doesn't pace out. And the Burns on the IL right now. It's probably a phantom IL stint.
so let me ask you right now, Solly, you're a betting man. I still think we would bet on the Mets to make the
Yeah,
playoffs, right?
and it's still like our schedule's the hardest remaining MLB schedule, and it has been since the All-Star break. And like it's just a brutal second half schedule. Still haven't played the Blue Jays, still got, I mean, we don't have any easy series left, and we blew the easy games we were supposed to have also. I kind of just don't believe the Mets are this bad. It's embarrassing if you're the Mets that, this team that has a $118 million payroll that also doesn't know what they're doing is nipping at your heels, and you have a $380 cajillion million payroll. It's embarrassing. Randy, I'm not upset they didn't push their chips in at the deadline. I'm mad they didn't trade to make the 2026 team better. Like that's the part that gets me.
That's fair.
Get control. Brian Hayes I like the acquisition in a vacuum. They have a third base hole, and they need to get better defense. And like if he's an 80 weighted runs created plus hitter, he is a 2-win player. Like that's it, for $8 million. That's a good deal. Like I don't blame them for that, but their pieces don't fit, man. It doesn't gel. They're not flexible. That's one thing about the Brewers, man, is like that I do respect, Deej, if you're going to make me give you a compliment, is like when things like when one piece falls apart, like when one guy gets hurt, they just are so malleable. Like guys can move around in different spots and they cover up those weaknesses so well. And like, if we're being honest, Randy, the Reds have had pretty incredible injury luck this year. Like they've been remarkably healthy, knock on wood, on offense. I mean, I know Green has been out for a while, but the pitching has held up. Like McLean stinking has been a major bummer. Like that has been
that
real. If you'd have told me that McLean was going to stink this bad and they'd have a shot at the playoffs, I would not have believed that. Like that's maybe the biggest surprise of it all.
Here's what I'll say about the Mets is the Mets are built a bit like the Cubs, in my opinion, where it's much more offense focused. There's not really pitching on the Mets that scares me. Diaz is a great closer if they can get to him. I mean, even David Peterson, who's been their best starter, good lefty, but he's not somebody that he's not a Garrett Crochet or he's not a Chris Sale when he's healthy, or a Scooble, right? Where it's like, oh shit, like this is going to be a long night. And so I do see the Reds get 3 games against the Mets, I believe early September. That's going to be a fun series.
That's going to be massive, Randy, because they, if I may, they took the first 2 in New York and then kind of threw out a weak lineup in that third game and lost that game by a run, which could have been massive. That
gave that one away a little bit.
You got to get 2 out of 3, or else you're going to lose the tiebreaker to the Mets because they have a better interdivision record. And if it's 3-3 between those 2 teams, you're going to lose the tiebreaker. So basically.
Would they not do a 1-game playoff anymore?
No, they do not do. Okay. They do not do playoffs. So basically, if let's say they split the first 2 games, that third game of that series is going to be worth double. Like that's how it ended up playing out with them against the Marlins. Remember, Sam Mull gave up a 3-run homer to, I think it was Brian De La Cruz or whatever, and they lost the final game of that series, and that made them lose the tiebreaker. That was like a 2-game flip. So that's one to look out for that first weekend in September.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Mets schedule. They obviously have some NL East series. They play all their division rivals, but they have to go to Detroit. They come to Cincinnati, like you said. The Rangers, the Padres. It's not a cakewalk for them.
They have the 3rd hardest schedule. We have the 2nd hardest remaining by games. Yeah. So,
well, I'm like I said, if I had to bet money, I would still take the Mets. I think that's just the fatalist view in me for being a Reds fan. But it is going to be fun. We have at least some playoff baseball here going into September as Reds fans. Deej, you mentioned you were at Wrigley. How was that experience? How are your interactions with Cub fans? Anything that you just need to read into the record?
Yeah, good question. So we went down, marked these on the calendar. Solly, I was bummed not to be able to caddy for you at the Creator Classic. Shout out to Matt Ryan for swooping in and taking my spot. But my wife Justine had never been to Wrigley. It's
wow.
80, 90 miles an hour or miles down the coast there. So had to make that happen. Very fun to be there for a Brewers game. Obviously, lots of Brewers fans. I will say, obviously, it's a fun year
Well,
to
they're
root for the
feeling
Brewers,
themselves.
so
I mean,
everybody's
if
kind of
yeah.
feeling themselves. A lot of "Let's Go Brewers" chants. A couple stream of consciousness things in no particular order here. It's awesome. Just straight up, I'll say that first and foremost. That carries the day. Wrigley rules.
Yeah.
It's a very, 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 very cool place, and the Cubs are very lucky to have it. It's a weird push and pull. I don't know the last time you guys were there, but a weird push and pull between the historic stuff and the modern stuff, and that's to get away from all of the Ricketts like development of Wrigleyville and all of that stuff. But there's a lot of positives. It's unbelievably easy to get into the game. Like the way that they've streamlined the security lines, and there's so many gates, and like I just God, I still have this taste in my mouth of going to White Sox opening day one time. And I think I just waited for like an hour, 45 minutes just to get in the gate, like waited in line. It's just miserable. And I mean, the Cubs, you truly just like walk in, scan your ticket and like walk in. There's almost no line. It's great. And so with that comes a lot of the kind of, you know, whatever you like, the employee-less grab and go type of concession stuff, which again is like not really why you go to the ballpark, you know. So it feels a little Amazon robotic, but it also is like, it's kind of nice not to wait in line. So some of that stuff is fun. Cubs fans are who we thought they were, you know, of course. I think
the worst.
Just
the worst.
unbelievably nice people that I just can't see eye to eye with from a baseball perspective.
Because none of them really care. None of them really care.
I said this to you guys, my favorite Onion headline maybe ever, but the one where it just shows the guy hitting the pop fly, and the headline is "Total dipshit fans think pop up fly ball is going to be home run." I think that sums it up right there. Just any ball that makes it out of the infield is just everybody's on their feet. What I was gonna say, and Cubs fans, hear me loud here. That Sunday game, you had a chance to like make it interesting, right? 4 in a row against the team leading the division in your ballpark. That Kyle Tucker's back. That could have been Shota's on the mound. That could have been like a we're coming type
Thursday game, you mean?
I'm
right?
sorry, Thursday. I keep thinking it felt like a Sunday because it was a day game. But yes, Thursday game, the last game in the series. That could have been like a we're coming, we're gonna make this interesting type of atmosphere. And it was just the last out in the ninth was just like people are singing songs and where we go to dinner, and it looked like they won, you know, 8-3 or something. It was just I don't know. You gotta be miserable in that situation. You know, I know maybe that's not the healthiest way to
I would
go
be
about it, but like
just-
yeah, it's maddening how just happy go lucky it stays, win or lose. I don't know. It's that was a thing. But yeah, I think as far as kind of switching hats, going from a White Sox fan to a Brewers fan, I think the common thread there is pretty easy to see. Right. And I think I hate the Cubs more than I like either of those teams. And that's why it was very fun, very fun to go to those games. And I think that's a very fun, just kind of center of gravity for this baseball summer.
Sully, what do you make of the Cubs?
Listen, do you
assume
want
we
to do a
don't-
little victory lap? I'm surprised
Well,
we haven't gotten
listen.
that yet.
Do we want to talk about in August their team OPS is 608?
What's the risk?
You know, do we want to talk about the total offensive drop off in the second half of the season? I don't know. We can if we want.
We can. You can take whatever.
Is this,
you know what, Randy?
Well, I guess my question is this the dog days of summer? Is this the Cubs reverting to their true selves, which I do believe? I think they were playing way over their heads offensively early in the year.
That might turn out to be one of the great calls of our time.
Can the Reds
I still can't
possibly
believe
catch
you were on
the
that
Cubs?
block.
Oh, it's just you look at the like Seiya Suzuki's not a 900 OPS bat, you know, like Nico, no, he's never been. Even Pete Crow Armstrong, I think his on base percentage is now below 300. Like, I get the defensive value, but man, he was over his head early in the season. Anyway, go ahead. I asked you the question.
Fun to watch PCA play defense in person. I will say
He's
that
sick.
he's very good at baseball. Not
Listen,
good at hitting right now, but very good at baseball at large.
Did I try my best to sell as high as possible fantasy-wise on PCA? I did. I tried my absolute darndest. It didn't quite work out. He is below 300 on base percentage. But, Randy, I mean, he's one of the best players in the National League. Like, he really is. He's over 5-win player, 122 WRC plus for the year. Like, I know he chases a lot. I know he's that special on defense. It's easy to hate him, but he's a really, really good player, and he's going to be really good for a long time. I regret to inform.
I still question that a little bit. I mean, I think he's always going to have a floor because of his defense, but I'm still not sold on the offense. Anyway, Kyle Tucker has a fracture, I think, in his wrist or his thumb. That
Finger,
doesn't seem good. Yeah, Suzuki, check out his numbers the last couple of months. They're terrible, cratering. So now we're going back to, Carson Kelly, Mike Bush, Dansby Swanson's kind of falling off a cliff. Like,
Mike Bush rules. I like Michael Bush has been a fantasy staple of mine, and I think he's a good baseball player.
I don't know if the Reds will catch the Cubs. I think the Cubs are catchable. Let me say that.
I hope so.
I think there's a much better chance of the Reds catching the Cubs than the Cubs catching the Brewers.
Cubs are not catching the Brewers. That's done and dusted. I would be stunned if the Reds could catch the Cubs. I think Tucker's going to bounce back at least a little bit. Like, if he's injured and they've identified it and he's still playing, you got to think he's not going to continue this. He's either hitting the IL or he's going to bounce back at least a little bit.
What do they do with him?
Defense
this
is
year?
solid.
Are they going to re-sign him?
I don't think so. I think he's probably hitting the market.
Right. But that's where it's like, dude, if you're the Cubs and you have this core that looked like the greatest offense of all time in the first half, like, I don't know. You're not big enough to be in on Kyle Tucker. Like, what are we doing?
I don't hate it.
That
right?
is a good
like,
question.
That's so
broadly speaking,
so
what are the
wimpy.
Cubs doing?
I know our teams are like, well, we can't afford that player, but like the Cubs are like, dude, are you the Cubs or are you not?
We're
like,
cheap asses.
Yeah, exactly. You know how much I just paid for beers when I was down there? You know how many fucking people were at that ballpark? You guys can't be in on them. Like, what is this league even about?
I was shocked they didn't go after a pitcher at the deadline, like a real pitcher.
DeGrom. I can't believe they didn't go get DeGrom, honestly.
Yeah.
And they traded Cam Smith to Ripper GC to get Kyle Tucker. Like, that was I was thankful. I was like, all right, if we can just get by with the Cubs not like winning it all this year, that's going to be a good trade for all of us in the NL Central.
Yeah.
We're going to be thankful on that one.
Agree.
Well, all right. That's probably enough NL Central talk. Let's go.
Just real quick. Yeah. Fuck the Cardinals still. I mean, just because they're completely uncompetitive, but just wanted to call that out. Worst fans in baseball, abandon their team. I don't even hear from them anymore. I don't hear anything. They don't come across my timeline or anything. Just the woes. Just can't forget that.
Be in for a long winter. Just a long winter for Cardinals fans. Multiple years. I hope we will see. The NL West, though, is fun. And you want to talk about teams that are doing it and going for it. The Padres, Solly. I don't know if you like what the Padres did, but I think we all have to admit that I respect what the Padres are doing.
How do they have chips left? How do they have any chips? They just keep pushing chips in.
They're finding chips and they're pushing them in. And I love it.
I can't pretend to have sat down and done the math of what, if you were to break it down specifically to percentages, like what they really increased their percentage of winning the World Series by with all of the moves they made at the deadline, but it couldn't have been much, right? It could not have been much. And in that process, they traded their number one prospect, shortstop Leo DeVries, who's MLB Pipeline's number 3 overall prospect. This is just to get Mason Miller and JP Sears, by the way. They traded Braden Nett, their number 3 prospect, then traded 2 pitchers, their number 13 and number 17 prospects. So traded a future cornerstone piece shortstop for a closer, for a back-end reliever. Now, multiple years of control with Mason Miller. He's going to be back there. They're built too. Yeah, building a very nice back end of the bullpen. But they're making a big bet that DeVries is not a future all-star. Look, AJ Preller gets all the love in the world, but I mean, the guy traded away James Wood, guy traded away CJ Abrams to the Nationals. That was for a year's worth of services of Juan Soto. Now I know I got that Michael King back from all that, but like, man, I don't think that is going to end up looking very good. Like all the analysis actually shows that, like, I think I saved a tweet about this of like how much he's traded away and how much that has overweighed what he's gotten in return. Yet he gets all the praise in the world. Yeah, the combined WAR of the 56 players he's traded away is 21.4, and the combined WAR he's gotten back of the 37 is 13.8. That's since he took over through the trade deadline last year. So if you have a truly special farm system that is replenishing itself, and you have locked in long-term contracts that are favorable, and you only have a few positions to fill, I think this strategy can work. I don't feel that way about either parts of this. And I also don't feel like this is do or die and it took them to like the World Series threat. There's something to be said for just being like probably the best team and now making it like, oh, the last 3 innings are night and over. Like we're probably going to win the World Series. If I felt that way, I think, yeah, this could all be worth it. For one ring, this could be worth it. I just don't feel like they actually got that much better in the process. They also traded their number 6, number 8, number 16 prospects and a few other prospects to get Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano. They also got Nestor Cortez from the Brewers for Brandon Lockridge.
What a career for him with the Brewers, man. Giving up 4 home runs on 4
he shut down the Reds though,
and then absolutely shutting the Reds down, and then riding the bench for the rest of the season with an injury. That's a
the Reds announcers that game
all-time
were like, he's just
career.
locating so well. And it's like his location plus was like 77 for the game. It was an awful, like one of the worst. Anyways, so all that, like, yeah, will I look silly for saying all this if they go beat the Dodgers in the playoffs? Like, if they might hunt down the Dodgers and win the NL West. Like, what's the opposite side of the coin here, Randy? Like, would you support the Reds doing this?
No, because I don't have the
slightly different core than the Padres have right now.
Yeah, and I don't trust the Reds to.
In what way?
Like continue to do it. Like that's, I think, what I'm so impressed with the Padres is that they're continuing to go for it. I thought the Reds, for instance, would have pulled the ripcord 2 years ago and been like, whoa, we're spending way too much money. And like, what are we doing? I think the Padres, they were up 2-1 on the Dodgers in the NLDS last year. That's a missed opportunity. They didn't score a run in the final in Game 4 or Game 5, but they were in a good spot. Certainly could have beat the Mets in the NLCS, and who knows? They're 12-7 since the trade deadline, so not chalking it up directly to the actions taken, but they're playing good ball. They did pass the Dodgers at one point about a week ago, and now are, I think, a game back of them. I just think they continue to deliver an exciting product on the field in San Diego for their fans. Yep. And is there a bill to pay at some point? I'm sure there will be, but it's hard for me to nitpick like, you're underwater 8 WAR making these moves when it's like, I'm jealous, man. I wish I was rooting for the Padres the last 4 or 5 years. Like that's kind of what being a fan's all about. So, not the strongest case against just trading away everybody, but I like James Wood. Yeah, he's a bat. They likely will come to regret that. But I think the prospects can be such coin flips anyway that it doesn't bother me too much what they're doing.
The hard part is what you get back can be such a coin flip too, right? Like looking at the Mariners is really fun. That was going to be, if we were going to do a ServPro mea culpa, it was a bit of a Mariners like, man, I didn't see that coming, guys. Like you're going for it, which I like. And then all of a sudden, Eugenio Suarez just like stinks. And you've kind of, I don't know, that can happen too, right? It's not like, I think that's this is the Brewers in me talking, but like, it's not a guarantee when it's just like, oh, just trade 1 million prospects and you get some guy back. It's like, well, you only need him for, it's not a guarantee he's going to go off for the next 2 months, 2.5 months. Yeah. Right. And so that's, I don't know. It's fun to watch.
I'm sorry. I know I did my Reds trade deadline rant. Can I backtrack a little bit more? Because there's more fun I can add to this. with the third base problem, which is Eugenio Suarez signed a long-term team-friendly deal with the Reds, and they dumped him to Seattle. Salary dumped him to Seattle, then paid Jeimer Candelario $45 million. He couldn't play third base.
He sucked.
Would you like to offer a ServPro
massive mea culpa for that one? Something happened to him. He got hurt or something. He was a good baseball player. Then he started singing. Just for the rights to pay him
with Marte.
So they paid more money to the guy that sucked, and Suarez put up like 15 WAR in that time period, and then made the trade for Ke'Bryan Hayes. But to your point, Deej, like
I'm just gonna look up. He's been 12 and a half WAR since he left the in the 3 seasons since he left the Reds. 122 homers.
So I was like, they almost had to give up prospects to give him back, to get him back for a few months.
So and what if the Reds sorely lacked is a middle of the order power bat, and specifically right-handed,
and a defensive third baseman? They haven't had it.
So my god! I think looking at the Brewers, the Brewers, the Padres. The Padres' biggest problem, quite honestly, is a little like what the Reds have going with the Brewers. They just cannot beat the Dodgers head to head. And I think if that's mental, if that's there's some kind of block, but that's kind of, if I'm a Padres fan, that's what's making me the most nervous.
Let me ask you this. I think this falls into some of the realignment stuff, and I don't know, maybe this is a good question or maybe a stupid question, but do you guys feel as national baseball fans, as fans of a team that's not the Dodgers or Padres, do you guys feel that rivalry come across your desk at all? Because it seems like those two fan bases are so into it, and I kind of wish it was a bigger deal in sports, and I feel like that's kind of where some of this realignment stuff gets to, because I feel like it's the same thing with the Yankees Red Sox. Feels like it's not nearly what it used to be, and you're kind of missing some of these like big rivalries, and I feel like that Padres Dodgers should be like, those games sneak up on me. Right. And they shouldn't.
Those were so fun in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But during the regular season, I'm just like, man, I feel like I should be getting hit over the head with like, holy shit, it's Padres Dodgers this weekend. And it just feels like it sneaks up on me.
That might be a time zone thing. I mean, I know you're central too, but like I can't do 9:40 starts. Like I'm in bed by 10. Like, what do you want me to do?
I guess I don't know. I don't know how to ask.
I'm trying to say.
It just feels like that rivalry should be a bigger deal, I guess, is what I'm saying. Outside of the playoffs.
It should. On a national stage, it absolutely should. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I've gone out of my way to watch a few Padres Dodgers games, and I'm in a much better time zone to do it. But yes, I think especially the games in San Diego, that stadium can get rocking.
Yeah.
It's an example of like the best of Major League Baseball, in my opinion.
I agree.
I was trying to find some. I think the Dodgers are 8-2 against the Padres this year, just to kind of.
But don't the Padres have Arias? How does that happen? How do you keep losing games with such a valuable piece that just doesn't? I don't understand.
Have you seen what our guys hitting?
On his back, man.
I know. Have you seen his post All-Star break splits? Like, let's give our guy a little credit. He can only do so much.
What does it look like post All-Star break here? Let's take a look. It's easily the shortest part of the season. Second half. 116 WRC plus, up from 99 from the first half.
Let's go.
Yeah,
it's massive. Confirming they
can't run the bases and can't play defense.
They are 2-8 against the Dodgers this year. It's going to cost you.
Would love, Deej, if you ever have a line to Pat Murphy, just ask him what he thinks of Luis Ariz.
There's a strange question for you, Pat.
You know what Pat would say? He would dump on that dude. He would absolutely dump on him. He doesn't walk. It's for no power and doesn't play defense. Get him off. No, Pat Murphy. I would not make Pat Murphy's team.
That's true. He's no Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Yeah, I bet he'd love my guy Xavier Edwards, who quickly is coming up on Luis as my favorite player. All right, let me get another ad read in. I want to thank Holderness Bourne, folks. The new Holderness Bourne late summer collection just dropped. I want to highlight a few specific items. A personal favorite, the Hamilton hoodie. It's a super lightweight piece in a lot of heather colors. You can check those out. The Ivy colorway specifically has been a hot seller. It's a nice soft shade of green. Kind of works well here in the late summer, early fall. And then they also have plenty of cotton styles, the Peruvian long staple cotton polos and the Nagel, the Neville, and the Hunter. Those are about as classic as it gets. TC wanted me to reiterate the Hamilton hoodie is fire. He said he's been wearing it since it arrived. And he's a big fan of the Ivy colorway too. So there you go. TC's kind of the fashionista amongst us. You can head to
He's been wearing that hoodie down to those Marlins games in the
yeah.
AC.
He needs an orange one to fit in next to his buddy down there. Holderness and Bourne, check them out. They are at hbgolf.com, and you can use the code TRAP10, TRAP10, and that will get you 10% off your first order. Just want to reiterate, TRAP10 and NLU10. Those are the only discount codes anywhere on the market for H&B. So check out their new late summer collection and pick something up for yourself or, anybody that appreciates fine clothing. Guys, with that, I guess we didn't really talk on the National League East.
Phillies are really good. Mets are collapsing.
I think people are going to talk about that.
Braves are a complete disgrace.
I think the rest of our media brethren are going to pick up the torch on the NL East.
Okay, let's go to the American League then with some of the time we have left. Blue Jays, buying, selling. Do we think they're going to win the division? Are you picking up what they're putting down, Solly?
I think they're going to win the division. It's kind of a first time hearing of this when I was looking this up earlier of how much they mash on offense.
Whoa.
Like they're good.
Yeah.
Good offensive team. The pitching still doesn't scare me. Like I don't know if I, go into the playoffs if I'm really fearing that team, to be honest.
Scherzer's kind of back, and he's not prime Max Scherzer, but I do like him.
I feel uninformed on the Blue Jays still, to be honest, Randy, but I'm impressed with what I see on the stat sheet. I'm not going to pretend like I've seen a bunch of games. Also, it usually helps to have seen the team. Reds haven't played them yet, so I haven't actually seen them play. So kind of hard for me to speak on. But I think they're like, with the American League being as weak as it is, the Yanks being as fraudulent as they are, as we called out from the very beginning, I think that they're going to cakewalk to the AL East.
Wow.
And I hope they do, honestly. I that's kind of anybody but the Yankees and Red Sox sort of division, as I'm sure it is for you guys as well. And Blue Jays they've been trying, man. They've been trying to be in on every free agent possible. They've been trying to push the chips in, and it's fun to see it click. And I want to see them in the playoffs. So I root for our neighbors to the north. I hope they get it done. And cold weather teams playing in the playoffs is always good. I know they're in a dome. That's more of a big picture conversation.
I don't disagree. I hope they make the playoffs. Traditionally, it's like, anybody except Boston, New York. I weirdly kind of like the Boston roster, especially the
it's
youth
winning me
movement.
over. It's winning me over a little bit. Did you watch the game last night at all?
No, I
Fox?
didn't.
Holy smokes. Yankees just throwing up all over themselves. Can't play defense. Roman Anthony hit one about 800 feet. They're fun. I know.
That Roman Anthony home run that went to the second deck in Yankee Stadium would not have been a home run in Fenway.
Really?
That was a home run in 28 parks. Yeah, it was White Sox and Fenway. It would not have been a home run.
Just a moon ball. I didn't actually see how far it went. It was like looked like it went fourforever.
Yeah, the Blue Jays. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm still. It wouldn't shock me if somebody caught the Blue Jays. I'm not necessarily rooting for it, although I do think it is disqualifying if you have Jeff Hoffman as your closer. I just saw entirely too much of Jeff Hoffman in Cincinnati. Completely unimpressed with his whole deal.
But their offense is legit, maybe the best in baseball. Like it's kind of freaky. George Springer, I apologize, I was not familiar with your game. Completely mashing.
Bo Bichette's back. We spent a lot of time talking about him. What the heck happened to him? Nice to see him bounce back from the wilderness. But then you're relying on guys like this Ernie Clement.
Big Ern Clement.
It's good defense, man.
Yeah, it just.
They're a strong defensive team too. I mean.
Blue Jays fans, let us know if you're cocky, you're confident, or you're nervous, and if there's that voice in your head. Is the clock going to strike midnight at some point? I'd be very, very curious to hear that. AL Central, the Royals are kind of playing some good ball lately. I mean, nobody's catching the Tigers, I guess, as it relates to the AL Central. do we think the guard dogs or the Royals have a chance at the wild card, Solly, or are we declaring them dead?
I mean, you can't declare them dead, like legally. Like we're not legally dead, but I don't think neither of those teams are making it. I mean, the Mariners are trying to give it away. They've lost 7 out of their last 10, but they lost the 5 in a row. But the Royals have won 8 out of their last 10. Like that was their run. Like they're not good. They have Jonathan India playing every day. They're not good.
I think the Mariners might stink, though.
Dude,
like, it might be organizationally.
How is that possible? I feel like
know.
the Mariners have been my biggest like no thank you bite sort of team on this podcast since we started doing it. I get messages from Mariners fans every time. How are you not in on? Look at this pitching staff. Look at all these things we got going. And I don't know how you could. We're not there yet, but they're what? Let's see. Let me pull up the wild card. They're 2 games ahead of the Royals in the wild card.
And 3 games up on Cleveland.
And I was listening to the I think it was Talking Baseball guys the other day, and they're like, imagine at the beginning of the year, Mariners fans, if we told you Cal Raleigh's going to do like historic stuff for like never seen this from a catcher. Julio's back. Randy Arozarena is going to be a 4-win player. Not only that, obviously the pitching staff you knew was going to ball out, and they are balling out. You're doing good with injuries, and at the deadline, we're going to push in some chips and get Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. And you're 2 games ahead of the Royals for the wild card. Like, how is that possible? That's crazy.
Also, how has Josh Naylor stolen 11 bases with the Mariners since the deadline?
I don't know. Somebody was just talking about that the other day too. It's nuts. They just wouldn't let him run in Cleveland. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. They're so good on paper,
I feel like the Mariners never the sum of the parts or the individual, whatever that saying is, they never add up to the sum of their parts.
I know.
It just feels like that's, I don't know. They just got something going as a franchise where I don't love the mojo there.
But again, that's one of those where I'm like, man, I like the market and the fan base is behind it. I think they would be such a fun playoff team. And I mean, I think they're obviously going to get in. It's just, I don't know. I would love to see them. Do something against Solly, as you said, not a real league in the American League. You know, it's like go
just get in and anything
push some of these dudes around. Yeah, you guys can.
Dude, you could take you could make it to Game 5 against the Dodgers or Padres. Sure. I really do think so. Like in the World Series. I mean, on the flip side, try to talk me into the Royals or the Guardians. I mean, Guardians are literally throwing games. Like they have 2 guys that are throwing games.
That's tough. I know. The Guardians aren't great this year. I mean, Jose Ramirez is great. It's just it's a lot of smoke and mirrors, I think, with the Guardians. They're not good.
Awful.
The Reds should get Jose Ramirez. Did you guys think about that? I think
stack third baseman.
There were rumors that they were trying to get little Stevie Kwan, which I would have loved. Honestly.
I would have loved that
guy would be a good brewer. Now we're talking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know why? He plays good defense.
That's right.
Yeah, the Royals don't do much, but I say the Royals have some like sneaky, pretty good pitching. So if I'm leaning, I'm probably leaning more Royals than Guardians to overtake the Mariners, but
don't they got some injuries? Bubic is out for the year. Yeah. Is Reagan's back? He's only pitched 48 innings this year. I think he's either coming back or is close to back. I don't remember, but
he's on my fantasy team. I feel like I should know this.
He threw a 35-pitch bullpen session as of the 18th. He's been on the 60-day DL. Michael Walker's been really good, but Noah Cameron, first I'm hearing of this, has been quite good as well. But then you get into Michael Lorenzen and things of that nature, Randy. We've been there. That's not a thing. I mean, India's been awful.
Let's go to the AL West real quick, and I think there are 2 big questions in the AL West. And Deej, maybe I'll toss these your way. Are the A's going to win over 71 and a half games? And dare we dream that they're still alive in the playoff race?
They're gonna need some stuff to break their way, I think. I think for that playoff race. They're currently in last place in the division. I think
they're playing such good ball right now.
10 games back, 9 games back. They won yesterday.
9.5 back of the wild card. Yeah.
So it's gonna take some luck, Randy. I'm not totally out. Maybe by next episode, I'll be ready to call that. It's a bit like Solid with Spieth in the Ryder Cup. I'm not, I think right now they're more likely to not make the playoffs than to make them. But I think I might be reaching out to our friends at FanDuel, see if I could get a buyout for the over that we placed at the beginning of the year, because I think that's
Am I in on this bet, or are you
No.
two the only ones in on it?
No, 2 bets placed. One for me, one for DJ.
That's such bullshit. You guys
Yeah,
stink.
sorry.
and we're going to invest it
These are
too. Think
so
about the compound interest that we're going to have a whole other.
Well, that's what I was saying. DJ, I'm already thinking maybe we just don't touch it and we roll it all over next year.
They got this. I saw he's telling me about this prospect they picked up from the Padres. This can't miss shortstop. I don't know, man.
That might be a little while, but Randy, would you trade Chase Burns straight up for Nick Kurtz?
No, I wouldn't.
I might.
Would you?
I might. Kurtz is special.
It's just huge.
He's a freak.
Well, the Reds liked Burns more last year. I wonder if their opinion.
That's what I'm saying. They drafted Burns over Kurtz is why I'm asking. But
I don't know if we told you this, Randy, but we're getting to see our A's in person after the Walker Cup. I think we're going to go. That was on my list, on my unofficial trap draw list, was go see one of these teams in one of these minor league stadiums. So I'm excited to. I think after the Walker Cup, we're going to go see the A's and your beautiful boy Roman Anthony.
I
their
love
Red Sox tilt.
I mean, truly, what a fun team. Shea Langoliers is having a breakout. Kurtz, you said. Jacob Wilson, who's been hurt but was having an amazing season. Soderstrom at first base is 23. Honestly, like the biggest disappointment is our guy Lawrence Butler. I was expecting him to have a much bigger year than he's had.
I know, you and me both, brother.
And you got Rooker as kind of the veteran, bringing these young guys along. I love the A's. I know it.
We're well set
Oakland
up.
fans, like, it sucks what has happened. I really, really recognize that, but them and like Padres, Dodgers, like those are the West Coast games that I'm turning on late after the Reds are over.
The A's have the 10th best offense this season in Major League Baseball. I mean, the pitching's that bad. Like it's very bad. But I mean, yeah, the offense. Like Kurtz he's a 184 WRC plus. Is one of the best hitters in baseball. Yeah, they're fun. They mash, man.
You know what? I kind of, as a self-glossed A's fan, I kind of noticed the Kurtz stuff like the first couple of weeks it happened. I don't think I realized that it continued quite to the pace that it has.
I was thinking, oh, he's hitting a lot of home runs. This is fun.
Yeah.
You know.
No, he's really good. Holy smokes.
And now it's like, what was that? He's hitting 315 with a over 400 on base percentage? Huh.
Is there 4 numbers in that OPS? Holy smokes.
Cody was offended when I offered him straight up for Jose Ramirez, and that's a trade I'm glad he did not accept now.
Well, let's go there, Solly. Good segue. The people have been banging on the door wanting a quick fantasy update, and also you had teased kind of our preseason over-unders. Do you have any quick updates there?
Sure. So our preseason over-unders, as it stands right now, again, projecting out the remaining games via Fangraphs, I'm projected to go 15-15, very much like the Reds, just probably a 500 team. Randy got you just below 500 at 14-16. Yeah,
a lot of ball left. A lot of ball left.
DJ scheduled to go 19-11 as we stand here right now. Some highlights or lowlights. The team that is projected to miss their projection by the most is the Braves. They're looking to go 17.5 under.
Yeah,
both Deej and I had the over on that one.
Not only that, I'll just get out ahead of it. I think we picked them as our non-Dodgers World Series pick.
That is accurate as
well. This year. It feels like it was 5 years ago, but unfortunately, I think that's true.
On the other end, the team is expected to go the highest over their projected win total, 82.5. That's the Brewers, looking like 98 wins. Randy had them under on that one. So the next 5 highest projected to go overs. Remember, I just said that every team stunk in the preview. Padres, White Sox, Tigers, Marlins, Blue Jays, all projected to go way over their totals, and I had unders on all of those. But Randy also did, except for the Tigers. He had the over on the Tigers.
We tried to warn you that the Tigers were fun.
We believed in the Tigers, yes.
You did.
Those other teams do stink. I still, in my mind, I think the Blue Jays stink. I'm sorry, Blue Jays fans.
Deej has a chance. I mean, if the Giants and Guardians flip, they're right kind of on the edge. Like Deej has a chance for his numbers to look really, really good by the end of it. But On the fantasy baseball front, John Landman, who is Casey's, the merch dame's husband, is in first place by 4 games. Jerry Bell is in second place. He's Neil's friend. His team, Schwan Soto, is in second. I'm in third, despite having some horrible batted ball luck. Come my way. I'm somehow not the top team. Cody in fourth, Randy in fifth. DJ and Casey battling for that 6th playoff spot. He has a half game lead as we go to record this. Max, unfortunately, was in sell mode. Polo. TC, despite probably being the most active on updates for his team in our group chat, is in 10th. A clean 57 games out of first.
TC's fans just got to be patient. He's building something over there. He's building a culture, and he's building something for the future. It might take a couple years to get there, but he's
whenever
excited.
Whenever the time does come for AJ Preller, I think you'd do well to contact TC and just, TC's going to have some learned experience going through a big bill payment.
I love this. Like 8th place Max Homa, 4 moves. 10th place TC, 133 moves made this year. So we're heading towards the playoffs. Jordan Alvarez is on his way back, and we're pretty close to having the dream team together here. And I'm quite excited for the playoffs. I've been building for the playoffs, and I think Happy Skeens Day is ready to make a move.
Thank you for that, Solly, and you're welcome to all the dozens and dozens of people. Inquiring about that. Let me thank our last sponsor today. That's Omni. Quick word from our friends at Omni Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel of No Laying Up. The heart of summer is here, and that means it's prime time to put vacation time to use and sneak away for a golf trip. Whether you're chasing cooler temps in the mountains or dialing up a weekend with your crew, Omni's 12 golf destinations offer plenty of ways to make it happen. Looking for elevation? There's Omni Grove Park Inn in Asheville. It serves up mountain views and a Donald Ross classic, while Omni Bedford Springs is home to the #1 ranked public course in Pennsylvania. Pair that with recently renovated Oak Marsh course at Omni Amelia Island. You can check out Solly and Tron were there not too long ago, or the iconic layout at Omni Homestead, where I was. And you've got no shortage of summer golf destinations to explore. I will say that Cascades course at Omni Homestead is hosting the U.S. Senior Women's Am this year in September. So if you want to get a peek at that. While you're out there, why not get competitive? The Omni Generation Cup is back for season 2 with qualifiers running every month at each Omni golf destination. Grab your family, tee it up for a day of fun and competition to solidify your spot in the national championship next spring. You're due for a summer getaway. Head to omnihotels.com/golf and play the possibilities. And now back to our show, boys. The last piece of news that I wanted to just get out there and get your opinions on. Don't know if you guys saw. I did not see it because I refused to watch the Little League World Series. I think it's an abomination and I hate it. But Commissioner Rob Manfred was in the booth at one of the games, and they were asking a bunch of stuff. And the thing that really stuck out from that conversation was about the possibility of expansion. And as I quote the commissioner here, I think if we expand, it provides us with an opportunity to geographically realign. I think we could save a lot of wear and tear on our players in terms of travel. I think our postseason format would be even more appealing for entities like ESPN because you'd be playing out of the East, out of the West. And that 10 o'clock where we were sometimes getting a Boston-Anaheim matchup in the past would be 2 West Coast teams. Went on to say some other stuff. But, boys, I think it's no secret Manfred would love expansion. Currently, there are 30 teams. I think the obvious place is to get to 32 teams. And you start going down that route. I guess I would throw it open to you about rumored cities, this geographic realignment. I tried to sketch out a 4-division of 8 teams, which I really liked. I think it's probably most likely to go 8 divisions of 4 teams. But I guess I would just open it up with what do you make of this expansion and potential geographic realignment idea?
I can start. I think it's a little messy. It's obviously going to be messy. I think because if you work backwards from it, if we end up with what you said, 8 divisions, 4 divisions in each league. Are we giving playoff spots to the winner of each of those divisions? I think that would be an obvious yes.
Yeah.
Which then means, are we, with 16 teams, are we sticking with the 6 playoff teams, or are we going to 8? And if we're going to 8, we're putting half the teams in the playoffs
Which I
after
don't
100.
love with a long regular season.
I mean, we should love it, Randy. I mean, our team is more likely to be 7th or 8th than it is to, be in that, more deserving top 6. But how it stands now, honestly, it honestly feels a little cheap having 3 wild card teams. Like, it just kind of feels, it doesn't feel like the Reds are a playoff team. Doesn't feel like they should be in a hunt right now, right?
I don't think they should be. Right.
So I feel like 6 out of 16 might still be the right number, right? I think you're almost certain to get some circumstances, though, where like a decidedly better team is better than, the 3rd wild card team in a division is better than the winner of the worst division. And I guess how much of these divisions really gonna matter, right? Are you going to go back to playing more interdivision games? And as it stands now, you play each team in your league that's not in your division twice, and you play each interleague team once, except for your rival, who you play twice, and then you play, 4 series, whatever it is, against your division rivals. Yeah. Do you adjust that so you're playing more divisional games, so you have like that kind of heat more often, and maybe don't have a home and away with the rest of the teams in your league? Maybe. I don't know. It is messy. I think there's probably, I wouldn't hate 2 more teams in Major League Baseball, but feels, I don't know, it could dilute things just a little bit. Can Raleigh or Nashville or Portland or Salt Lake City support a Major League team? Probably, but maybe not. I don't know. There's a price to pay in some way. Is it worth it? I tend to honestly, against all odds, trust MLB here. A lot of the changes they've made, I've ended up agreeing with wholeheartedly. So honestly, Manfred gets ripped on a lot. I tend to trust him on these things because he's been right about a lot of things.
Yeah. Let me jump in, Deej. I want to throw it to you. I think one thing to note, if it does go to 32, Jason Stark wrote about this at The Athletic. It seems like the 162 game schedule is done, and they would trim games. Either 154 or 156 would make a lot of sense mathematically. And DJ, just the other thing, as I get your thoughts, it seems like now with DH in both league and interleague play throughout the year, like the leagues don't matter anymore. I would almost go to like, let's just play Major League Baseball with like 4 divisions is kind of how I think.
Yeah.
Or 8 divisions, right?
No, I think that's right. And I think there's a lot of, I don't know, in reading about this and trying to learn more about it, I feel like I got to, intentionally gut check the anything new is bad part of my brain, right? Because I have grown up with the American League and National League, and I love those things, and I love that division, even though it doesn't, as you just laid out, probably makes less and less sense as things go on. And I think what you also mentioned there, cutting to 156 games, which that Jason Stark piece was really helpful in understanding why they have to cut games and how the math works out. I think that's the other half of the coin that Solly was just talking about there. It's why you need to add more playoff teams as well. Is not only does it kind of make sense with that 32 number, but it also is going to be the first thing owners say is like, all right, well, you're taking away home games. And that the players say is like, well, you're taking away games and you're going to try to pay us less. And like all of this is going to filter into the collective bargaining stuff that's going to be an apocalypse, at the end of 26.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. So like that's what Jason Stark kept saying in that piece is like, yes, this both seems inevitable and also like, who knows what's about to happen, because everything kind of is going to be on the table to be renegotiated here in the next couple of years. So everything is far from certain, even though this feels inevitable is kind of like the clunky way to say it maybe. But Randy, I'm circling all the way back. I'm kind of with you on the larger divisions. I don't know. I guess it goes both ways. Like, do you want to give more teams a chance? Do you want to really like, I'm going back to almost what I was saying about the rivalry stuff. Whereas like, this Boston and New York and LA and San Diego and, to a much, much lesser extent, Milwaukee and Chicago, or like things like that should feel very special. I think it feels less special, weirdly, if you're playing all of those regional games. Like, I think both things are true, that baseball is a very regional game. And it would be exciting if that's how the playoffs were slightly more structured. But over a regular season, like, I also think you can only play the same teams so many times, right? I think that gets a little boring, and it kind of ends up skewing the playoffs. Like, you go back to the Royals making it in last year because they beat the White Sox 10 times. It's like, if you have just some historical clunker, it's like, well, that kind of shakes up the playoffs in a weird spot too. So all of that is to say, like, it's a very messy, confusing situation. I don't totally know how I feel about it yet, but my gut kind of is like, I like 30 teams. And again, I'm not trying to be like anything new is bad. Part of me almost thinks like, okay, well, if Nashville and Salt Lake are going to, be these unbelievable host cities, like, are there some kind of half dead franchises now that we should just move there instead of diluting things farther? And I don't know.
Yeah.
I look at, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to name names, but you can kind of see where I'm looking at, particularly south of Orlando. I think there's a couple of squads that,
I
that
know.
probably could be shaken up. So it's I don't know. Randy, does that resonate with you, or where's your head at?
Yeah, I like if you're gonna have a long regular season, 156, 162, whatever it is, then I would like making the playoffs to feel special. And so I just hate watering down. And I'm with you, Sally. Like, it feels watered down a little bit even now. Like, am I excited that the Reds could make the playoffs? Yes. So I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth. But the Reds this year should not be a major, like, should not be a baseball playoff team. They're not a baseball playoff team. I I think where I feel most strongly is like I would love to have some larger divisions, if you will, like the 8 divisions of 4 teams each. I just don't
I don't
love
either.
offense. I would even go like 2 divisions of 16 teams, right? Or certainly like 4
Only
divisions
question I have, it
of 8.
works in the NFL, right? Like that's the only I kind of agree with you, but also I would say like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been kind of tested and it clearly works in that
I guess
league.
I guess I yeah. I don't know why. It just feels like
Does the salary cap change that though in the NFL? And this is where I will, like,
I
be
was gonna say
talking out of
if you can
school, but
guarantee that like all 32 teams, like if there comes about a salary floor and a salary cap, I would be totally
yeah,
fine with 8 divisions of 4 teams. It just feels weird with baseball's financial structure right now. I don't know. There are some fun like geographic buckets that you can put all these teams into. I think Milwaukee Deej is one of like the swing teams where it's
yeah,
like you can bunch them with Detroit, Cleveland, Chicago, Cincinnati, or like you could swing them out with like Minnesota and like I went through the exercise. I had Milwaukee, Minnesota, a Nashville team, St. Louis, Kansas City, and then Colorado, Texas, Houston as kind of like an 8-team
yeah.
middle of the country group. So yeah, we'll see. The timing on all this is a few years away. I think Manfred had said he hopes to identify perhaps the 2 franchises, the 2 expansion franchises by 2029. But they're not going to be up and running before 2030. So a lot of time here, but kind of a fun exercise to go through. The
It's
last bit of
wild.
news, I don't know if you guys saw, it looks like MLB and ESPN are coming back together on a big deal. Sounds like a big media package to ESPN with some supplemental stuff at Peacock, NBC, and potentially Netflix for like the Home Run Derby. I don't know if Apple's going to, I think Apple Friday Night Baseball, it sounds like, is going to go away, but I feel like ESPN getting back into the baseball deal is probably a good thing.
It seems like it. There was some
So
very confusing language, and sorry if I'm making it more confusing than it is, about ESPN getting, like, buying MLB TV, and I couldn't tell if that was somebody mistakenly reporting that they'd be buying MLB Network, which would make a lot more sense to me than buying MLB TV, which is the kind of aggregator of all the streams and the way that all of us watch baseball. I don't know what would be necessarily in it for ESPN to own the infrastructure there, but maybe I just haven't thought about it enough.
yeah, the thing that, again, this was from the Athletic, a Andrew Marchand article from the 21st. I think ESPN would take over. They would have the rights to all out of market regular season games digitally. as well as taking over all in-market games for 5 teams.
So maybe this is kind of setting up. I don't know. I got to think about this more, but this is probably setting up for like as some of these RSNs start to expire, like getting a much more overarching sort of deal in place rather than the MLB having 30 individual TV deals. Hopefully they can start bundling some of this. And obviously there's always going to be an issue with, the Yankees and the Dodgers and some of these teams that, have these like money printing local deals. But yeah, I don't know. It does seem like some consolidation is probably inevitable and probably even a good thing for some of the smaller market teams.
It feels like this is not this is just me speaking off the top of my head. It kind of feels like, so ESPN's launching a direct to consumer, like digital, you don't need a cable subscription to access, like kind of like a pure streamer, right? Which I think is kind of been ESPN Play. Like it all gets kind of confusing, but it feels like ESPN's almost trying to consolidate, like we're the home of like all baseball games, right? And I could see them kind of doing this across a few different sports where, like, no, you buy the ESPN like streamer thing on your TV and you can go in and you can watch all out of market baseball games, similar to like if you have MLB TV right now.
The one thing I will say I hope stays solid is the MLB TV app is awesome. And I really, really, really love how it works and love being able to watch all the different games and click around. And so I hope I hope that stays. Keep your hands off my MLB TV a little bit is kind of how I feel, but hopefully the infrastructure stays the same.
I think though, if I was to really, this is where like Manfred's going to have to earn the big bucks on this, is like all of this coming. If we're talking about a new collective bargaining agreement where we have a salary cap and have a salary floor, which still seems like a long shot at this point, but we're talking about creating parity within this league. We're talking about leveling the competitive balance of this league. And because baseball is so regional, like NBA and NFL teams exist really strongly in that competitive league's infrastructure, whereas baseball teams are more their own individual franchises. Does that make sense? Like they own their own TV rights and they they just operate differently under a collective bargaining agreement. But like that's been the whole reason why there's no salary cap. It's complicated. But all that to say, if we're changing the whole structure of how the league works, then we can go about making baseball on a big network like that. People buy MLB TV to watch their own teams out of market. Like that's what they do. But if we're talking about bringing back baseball tonight, if we're talking about, baseball being on ESPN, then we have all of the shoulder programming is going to be talking about baseball again. It is going to be talking about that Padres Dodgers rivalry. Like I don't know where to tune into that right now. I don't have that on my TV. If I go flip for that, following the model of the biggest, most successful professional sports probably is where baseball needs to go. Like it's not a big enough cash cow to continue with the current model, would be my argument. Maybe biased because I'd like to see a salary cap, but that would all start to make sense as kind of more things come under the MLB umbrella. Now I think they're going to be up against quite the challenge pushing all that through, but I could have described that a lot better, but I think that's kind of like the idea behind, I would think, it going to an ESPN.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, we will see. Sounds like whatever this ESPN MLB thing is, if it does get officially completed, will take effect next year. So, boys, nice little pre-September 1 check-in.
I love talking baseball with you. It makes me want to go flip on a game right now. I was just looking. There's no afternoon. The Cubs don't play this afternoon. It's a Friday afternoon as we're recording this. I was like, I would have watched the end of a game right now because I love chatting ball with you guys.
I threw on the A's day game yesterday against the Twins on the radio as I was doing some work. Yeah. What I was going to say, we'll be back in September near the end of the season. This will not be the last Seamsters. So until then, look forward to it. And want to thank again ServPro, H&B, and Omni, and cheers and crack on. The ball knowers will be on the trap draw next week ahead of the start of the NFL season. Cheers.
Cheers.